Hello everyone and welcome to Lochiel School. My name is Diane Gendron and I'm a school marm here at Lochiel, reenacting a 1924 school program for children from Langley and throughout the Lower Mainland. This school program is presented by the Langley Centennial Museum and we're here to explore Lochiel School with all of you. Hello boys and girls and welcome to Lochiel School. This is a schoolhouse that was attended by boys and girls in the 1900s. It was first built in 1924, so almost 100 years ago. And it was built on a site several miles down the road. And it was used until about 1975. And then they closed it and it fell into disrepair. So the ceiling was falling in and the floorboards were all rotten. And then the Langley Historical Society thought that it would be a really good idea to restore this building. But before they could do that, they had to move it all the way from several miles to this park. So what they did was they jacked it up on a big flatbed truck and they slid that truck under the building and then they drove it down the road all the way here to Campbell Valley Park, to this beautiful park, and they set it right here in the park. And that's where we've been ever since then, having children come to this school for about the last 30 years to experience a 1924 classroom. This is a one-room schoolhouse, so all the children from the neighborhood would have come to this one room, whether they were in grade 1 all the way up to grade 6, and some of those grade 6s would have been 16 years old, and they would have been with one teacher teaching all of those grades and all of the subjects, just in one classroom, one teacher, all those children. Oh my goodness. And you would have walked to school. You never would have had a ride from a parent or another adult. No, you would have walked. You would have walked in the pouring rain or the deep, deep snow or the freezing cold. You never would have had a ride. Maybe sometimes you might have ridden your horse. So boys and girls, line up here. We'll have the girls on this side and the boys on this side standing up nice and straight and tall on your 2 feet. Very good. So now, boys and girls, we're going to be pretending here today. We're going to be pretending that this is a 1924 classroom and you are pioneer students and I am a pioneer teacher. Now, pioneer teachers are a little stricter than teachers today. Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Gendron. Please note that I am a Miss because if I were married, I would be Mrs. and I would be at home teaching my own children and family, not here teaching other people's children. And so I want everybody to say, "Good morning, Miss Gendron." And I want to hear a really enthusiastic good morning because you're very lucky to be able to be at school. It's a privilege for you to be here because so many children have to stay at home and work on the farms with their parents because there's always so much work to do on the farms. But you're lucky, you're at school, and so I want a really enthusiastic good morning, Miss Gendron. All together? Very good. Well done. So now we're going to set our rules. In this class, we have some very definite rules. The first one is that children are to be seen and not heard. And in my classroom, what that means is that I'm delighted to see you here in the classroom, but I don't want to hear a peep out of you. I want your feet firmly on the ground and your hands folded neatly on the desk in front of you. No hands waving willy-nilly in the air and no talking to your neighbor. Chin up, eyes forward, sitting up nice and straight and tall. And I like good English in my classroom. I don't want to hear, nope, I don't know. Nothing like that. I want to hear, yes, please, thank you, and you're welcome. And in this classroom, when I ask you a question, I want you to stand to the right of your desk and answer the question. For example, if I were to ask you, what year was Lochiel School built? You would stand up to the right of your desk and you'd say, Lochiel School was built in 1924, Miss Gendron, because you would always follow the answer with my name. Is that very clear? Well done. So now we have here a picture of our monarch. This is King George V. And King George is the King of Canada. And every morning in our classroom, we sing a song to King George V. So let's all stand on our feet and sing this song together. God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King. Very good. And here we have a flag. This is the flag of Canada. And this is the Union Jack, and it shows that Canada is a loyal member of the British Commonwealth. Very good. So now every day in our classroom, we have a health inspection. So I want you, please, to look at your hands and make sure that you cleaned under your nails really well, because I know many of you had to be out on the farms this morning working before you came to class. So I just want to make sure that your hands are clean. So check both sides, front and back, and your nails are all clean and tidy. And I don't want to see any nail lacquer on girls' fingernails. And boys, I know that sometimes little boys aren't very good about remembering to wash behind their ears. And sometimes there can be so much dirt behind their ears that they could grow potatoes. We certainly don't want to have any of that in this classroom. And girls, I hope I don't see any of you wearing any earrings, because you will not have earrings in little girls' ears in my classroom. And if I see somebody with earrings, I'm going to write a letter home to your parents, asking them to take those earrings away from you and keep them until you're older and more responsible and able to look after those earrings. And I know that they will do as I ask because they respect me as your teacher. And all of you, we don't want to see any wristwatches on wrists, not at all, because that's just too distracting. No one else needs to know what time it is. I know when it's lunchtime, I know when it's recess, and I know when it's the end of school, and none of you need to have that distraction from watching a wristwatch on your wrist, not at all. So now it's time for our arithmetic lesson. So the only way to learn arithmetic is by drilling those multiplication tables into your head. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have our multiplication drill. So this is a multiplication wheel, And in that wheel, we are going to put a 3. So, everybody all say together, and we're going to repeat it several times so that it drills it right up into your heads. 3 times 1 equals 3. 3 times 1 equals 3. 3 times 1 equals 3. 3 times 2 equals 6. 3 times 2 equals 6. 3 times 3 equals 9. 3 times 3 equals 9. 3 times 4 equals 12. 3 times 4 equals 12. 3 times 5 equals 15. 3 times 5 equals 15. 3 times 6 equals 18. 3 times 6 equals 18. 3 times 7 equals 21. 3 times 7 equals 21. 3 times 8 equals 24. 3 times 8 equals 24. 3 times 9 equals 27. 3 times 9 equals 27. 3 times 10 equals 30. 3 times 10 equals 30. 3 times 11 equals 33. 3 times 11 equals 33. 3 times 12 equals 36. 3 times 12 equals 36. Very good. All right, now I want you all to stand, and when you're on your way walking home from school today, I want you to think about this multiplication table, and sometimes putting a rhythm to it can really help. So let's all do that. Everybody up on your feet, and then we'll just do a walk like this and get a rhythm when you're walking home from school. So it'll be 3 times 1 equals 3. 3 times 2 equals 6. 3 times 3 equals 9. 3 times 4 equals 12. 3 times 5 equals 15. 3 times 6 equals 18. 3 times 7 equals 21. 3 times 8 equals 24. 3 times 9 equals 27. 3 times 10 equals 30. 3 times 11 equals 33. 3 times 12 equals 36. Very good. Can you all do that? That's your homework for today. In the arithmetic lesson, you have to do that all the way home, and then when you come back to class tomorrow morning, I want to see a paper with all of those multiplication tables all written out clearly and put on my desk, so I'll know that you've learned that table. Very good. So now we'll have our writing lesson. So today's writing lesson, we're going to learn how to write a capital O. So we're going to use the McLean's method. So I want you to all put your hands up like this using your whole arm. That's how we learn how to write, using your whole arm. And then pick up your chalk and put it on your slate and draw an oval. Counterclockwise over the top. All together, let's do another one. 8. 8 times, all in the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Very good. All right. Now, let's add something that makes it into the capital O. I'll put the little flick up at the top. Are you ready? Round once, and a little flick like that. Round once, and a little flick. And there we have a capital O in the cursive writing. So now I am going to write a word using that capital O. O, C, T, A, W, A. Ottawa. Ottawa is the capital city of Canada. So I'd like you all to write Ottawa on your slates with your chalk. Very good. Very good. Take that, wipe your slates off. Very good. And let's have a spelling lesson. So we have our spelling book. And the words that we're going to do today are fire, the first word, fire. We're going to have 5 words in our spelling test today. So we had a fire in our fireplace. So if you all write the word fire, please. Very good. Next word, play. At recess, we play outside. So please write that word, play. Lunch. For my lunch today, I brought a sandwich. Lunch. Fourth word, farm. I live on a farm in Langley. Farm. And the last word, horse. This morning, I rode my horse to school. Horse. So now I want everyone to check and make sure that you have those spellings right. So we'll just spell them quickly. Fire, F-I-R-E. Play, P-L-A-Y. Lunch, L-U-N-C-H. Farm, F-A-R-M. Horse, H-O-R-S-E. Very good. How many of you got them all right? Well done. So I've been watching while you've been writing to make sure that none of you are writing with your left hand. We don't want to see anybody using their left hand in my classroom. Always you must write with your right hand. If you were writing with your left hand, you'd be smearing the ink across the page. And I didn't bring my rope with me today, but if I had brought my rope and I did see someone writing with their left hand, I would tie their left hand behind their back so that they couldn't possibly use that hand and they would have to write with their right hand. And in the past, there have been severe punishments for people who write with their left hand. For example, I might ask them to come and stand in this corner and we put a dunce cap on their head just to show that how wrong they were. They'd have to stand in that corner with a dunce cap on their head until we thought that they were a lot smarter. And one of the other punishments that we have in this classroom is this strap. Now the strap is approved by the British Columbia Board of Education and the teachers. We are allowed to give the children a strap if we feel that they have misbehaved. And also, if a child is not behaving well in my classroom, I have them come and stand right here and put their nose in that circle until they're ready to behave. So now, boys and girls, it's time to talk about our writing tools. So up until now, you've been using a slate and chalk. So this is the slate, and the chalk. But once you get to be in grade 5, then you'll start to use a pen and ink. So this is a straight pen and the inkwell. And you would dip the pen into the inkwell and then tap it off lightly so that there's no blob of ink on the end of it, and then write very carefully on paper so that you would have your words looking all beautifully creative once you've learned your cursive writing with a pen and ink. Now the inkwells would sit on the desk. Some of the desks have little holes in them. They'd sit right there on the desk. So now if I were a little girl sitting here with this inkwell and there was an inkwell on the desk behind me and there was a mischievous boy sitting at this desk, do you think I should be worried? Maybe that he might take one of my long blonde braids and dip it in that inkwell and then it would splash all over my dress and dye my hair a dark purple color, and then I only have 2 dresses to wear. I have a dress to wear to school and a dress to wear to church, and my school dress is all ruined because of that ink on my dress, and I probably would have to wear that dress until the end of the school year. That would be a terrible thing, wouldn't it? So you have to be very careful with these inkwells not to be sitting in front of a mischievous boy. So earlier we talked about the importance of keeping your nails clean and your hands washed. And now I want to talk about how important a hanky is. So I want to make sure that you all have your hankies with you, because a hanky is the first defense against germs. It catches your cough and your sneeze, and you can blow your nose in your hanky to make sure those germs aren't flying around the classroom. Because if they are, then people can get sick and they can't come to school. So you make sure that you have your hanky. And the end of the day, you take that hanky home with you and you wash it in hot soapy water to get rid of all of those germs, and you hang it to dry. The next morning when you get up, you take your hanky and you iron it. But before you can iron it, you have to make sure that your big stove is burning. You've got lots of wood in there making the top hot, and you put your cast iron on top of the stove so that it heats up. And then you iron your hanky so that it's nice and flat and neatly creased, so that you can take it back to class with you again and catch all those germs to keep everybody safe and healthy. Boys and girls, we'll be dismissing the class in just a moment, one row at a time. But before we do that, we're going to have our daily reminders. So let's all say these together. Practice makes perfect. A healthy body creates a healthy mind. If at first you don't succeed, try and try again. Very good. It's been lovely having you here in my classroom with me, and I hope we'll see you again. Bye now.